How's it going, folks? I'm here today in the 2024 Lexus TX 500H. It's Lexus's large, new 3-row crossover. It's a very compelling entry to a very crowded field. What we've got is a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder motor and an electric motor tied together in Toyota's classic hybrid system, making about 366 horsepower, about 340 pound-feet of torque. And that is, you know what? I'm gonna use the word adequate. It's an adequate amount of power for this type of car. It's not gonna win any races. It's definitely not EV quick, but it'll get the job done. What we're doing today is not one of our classic drive routes up a twisty mountain or something or other. No one in their right mind is doing that in a Lexus TX. Instead, we're gonna simulate driving around town. We're in my hometown of Redacted, New Jersey. Just left my house in Redacted, and now we're doing a little highway trip. Gonna pull off soon, look for a little bit of a gravel section. Just the kind of stuff that Lexus expects TX owners to be doing. And it's certainly not driving really quick up a twisty road. I guess it can do it. I mean, any car can if you really wanted to, but it's not really what it's for, you know? Really what it's for is taking your kids from place to place, wherever they need to go, and going on long road trips. And on the subject of road trips, I just took this TX on a nice long one. Not real long. I have put in a few days 740 miles on this car, and that is a lot, and I guess you could say I know it pretty well at this point. It makes, right off the bat, it makes for an excellent road trip vehicle. Really, really good. It does everything you expect it to do well. The seats are comfy no matter where you're sitting, even in the third row. And even when you have the third row up, you still have plenty of room for all your stuff. It all fits back there with plenty of room to spare. I mean, if you want 3 rows and a bigger trunk, you're gonna have to go up to something like that Escalade right there, or a Suburban, something huge. And while this is definitely a big car, it's this many inches according to its spec sheet, it doesn't feel as big. It's got a really nice tight turning radius that makes maneuverability really pretty solid. Pretty solid. In terms of tech, it's really lovely. It's classic Toyota Lexus. Everything just kind of works. It's nothing with too many frills. A real highlight is definitely its driver assistance suite. It's got this thing called lane trace and traffic jam assist, which if you're going like under 25 miles an hour in traffic, hands off the wheel completely. It goes where it needs to go, and that's really nice and kind of alleviates some of the, let's say, pains of being stuck in traffic. No one likes it. My one gripe with the technology, and it's not the center screen, that all works great. The little digi-stick is kind of fun, a little fun novelty to use. My one gripe is the little sensor that watches your eyes to make sure you're paying attention to the road. It's hyper aware of if you look away for even a second, which I guess is good, you know, it wants to keep you on the ball. My one issue is I tend to drive pretty often with my one hand at 12, you know, instead of the 10 and 2, 9 and 3 or whatever. I keep one hand at 12 a lot, and it really doesn't like that because it blocks the sensor, thinks you're not paying attention, thinks you're a ne'er-do-well. And you know what, Lexus? I'm not a ne'er-do-well. I'm a very attentive driver, but it beeps and bings and bongs at you until you give it the respect it deserves. And we're about to do as much as an off-roading in northern New Jersey as we can do. This is a little gravel road behind a park that's near where I grew up. And we put it into the little off-roady mode, and it does a good little job. You know, you're never gonna, I mean, maybe if you have like a summer cottage or something, you'll take it up to that. But you're really never doing that much off-roading, and that was it. That's as much off-roading as you're probably gonna do in the TX. It's also got a very nice heads-up display that does exactly what you want to. In fact, my one issue though is it almost wants you to do too much, if you know what I mean. Like, it does, there's a lot going on in there, and the controls on the steering wheel are all kind of touch sensitive, and they'll show up with what those buttons do, because the buttons are just arrows. But the buttons will show up with what they do in the heads-up display. The F-Sport seats that come in the 500H as standard, because it's the F-Sport package, are definitely on a little bit of the tighter side for that sporty feeling, as is the slightly sporty nature of the suspension. It's a little harder than you might expect, tuned to give you that extra, you know, that little bit of love. Who doesn't want that? So that, folks, that is the 2024 Lexus TX 500H. It's a good car, and shows Lexus is real serious about the 3-row crossover market. This is a really good effort for them, based on the Grand Highlander, which is a good car. So it makes sense that this would also be a good car. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.